Hey everybody, just waiting a couple more minutes here. We got some people still joining here for our webinar this morning. I'm excited for today's webinar. I put in quite a bit of research into this one, so I think you guys are going to get some value out of it. I am going to be sharing my screen here, and I also am, here we go, boom. Let's go over here. Okay, great. And then I'm also going to be pulling up the chat and the Q&A here. So if you guys have questions throughout the presentation today, feel free to let me know. Feel free to send them in the Q&A or in the live chat here. While I wait, I'm going to throw in um, our AI construction community link. I've opened it up, so it's a free trial here for anybody that joins these webinars. So if you want to get in there, check out our courses or the courses that I've built really around using AI in construction, going from 0 to 1 and really getting familiar with AI in construction and the best practices, what I've seen people use, stuff like that. I'm gonna put that link in here just for you guys. If you want to check it out, great. If not, I'm gonna continue to see you here on the webinars. I think we had like maybe 5 people join last week. And there's some information about it as well. Okay, so I think we've waited long enough for people to join. I'm gonna just kick things off here. So this week's presentation is one that's like not super exciting, I guess you could say, but it's one that's like critical, I think. And I think sometimes the least exciting things are the most important things, especially in business. And um, there's just this like barrage of, AI this, AI that right now. And what I really want to do is be able to give you guys a very clear path, no matter how big your company is, whether you guys are, a two-man team or a 200-man team. You can actually take the things that I'm about to show you today, be able to assess and really like sift out what's good AI versus what's just like marketing and who is just like selling you a dream versus who's actually going to be saving you time, as well as, it's one thing for something to actually save you time and be a good software and a good AI tool for you to implement into your company. But what's that roadmap look like? How do you decide if you're going to roll it out? What does the testing process look like? I'm going to get into all of those kind of best practices. We're doing it ourselves in our own company. So in a way, a lot of what we're going to be talking about today isn't really specific to just construction companies, but it is going to be things that you can definitely apply inside of your construction company. So, well, I was just reviewing my slides earlier. Let me start here. Cool. So let's get into it. I do like to always start with one slide here. There's a new stat that I found around, the adoption or the investing into AI as far as the construction community goes. But AI is rapidly transforming, sectors across all of construction. And with 92% of GCs, this is a number that I thought was really interesting. 92% of GCs are planning for increased AI investments in the next 3 years. So construction firms are beginning to harness AI's full potential from automating repetitive tasks to uncovering valuable insights from job data. AI enhances efficiency and helps companies secure more bids by streamlining processes, improving decision making. So that's the stat that I really wanted to highlight on this slide. Just going into it, 92% of construction companies are going to be implementing new AI tools. So, what we're going to be talking about today is what 92% of companies should have, at least in the back of their mind or, as they look at maybe I write proposals and I'm looking at a proposal software. What do I need to know about that software? Like, where are the limits with AI? What can it actually do right now? What can't it do? And what's, basically lies of like a broken promise versus, how do I assess whether this is actually going to be useful for me in AI? So, there's a lot of opportunity here. Obviously, efficiency through automation is the first. I mean, I always talk to people about AI in construction, and I say, first things first, just automate the boring, repetitive, things that just don't give much uh, like reward and work and stuff like that. So basically being able to eliminate anything that's more, just, copy and pasting and downloading and attaching and emailing and stuff like that. That stuff can completely be eliminated right now. And, you don't need a super complex AI system to do that. AI is already doing stuff like this. So providing predictive insights for decision making, AI is great at analysis. By analyzing historical data, current project parameters, AI can provide insights that help predict potential outcomes and risks. This allow construction firms to make better informed decisions that can lead to cost savings. Enhances safety by detecting hazards. AI systems can monitor job sites in real time now with video. They can identify safety hazards such as missing personnel protective equipment or structural risks. This proactive approach helps reduce workplace accidents and enhances safety compliance. Also, I've even started to see some insurance company offer discounts to people on their insurance policies if they are using some of these like newer video-based AI tools. There's a lot of complex compliance requirements, and this is one thing that we do at contractsconnected.com. That's, if you guys don't know, if you're new here, that is what I build in my day-to-day full-time job. And I actually just build out this community because I'm really passionate about AI. And I happen to be in construction software, working with construction teams all day. So I see the most applications there. But really like it comes down to, there's a broad amount of documents, there's a broad amount of data within the documents, there's documents that need to be, referenced when deciding if we're approving or denying, a weekly certified payroll, approving or denying a certificate of insurance, whatever it is. We're building out the AI that completely eliminates any of that work, guesswork, or even tracking of those documents. Now, one thing that I do see, and this is not just in construction, but construction does have its own very specific challenges around the adoption piece. And I've mentioned this almost on every single webinar about, there's the people that just don't get value out of it. So why change something that, they feel like isn't broken? They've been doing it this way for 10 plus years. Why am I going to change today? That's a major challenge, but getting into these other ones, resistance to change from familiar processes. Construction teams often resist adopting AI due to the reliance on established processes. The mindset of if it ain't broke, don't fix it hinders the innovation and prevents teams from exploring new technologies that could enhance efficiency and productivity. And I'm going to give you guys a little bit later in this presentation basically a way for you guys to test this stuff and get past this resistance to change from familiar processes. I mean, even in Contracts Connected, our AI software for the back office of construction teams, we're completely changing the way that, the paperwork process has been done in the back office, from generating the documents like subcontracts to tracking down, the project attachments related to like certificates of insurance, W-9s, vendor forms, whatever you want to collect. We're essentially coming in and changing that entire process. And sometimes that's multiple people that have been doing things the same way for multiple years. And getting them over the adoption hump is the hard part. But once they send, literally we see this in our onboarding, 2 contract packages sent in our software, we can achieve full adoption. They only have to see it really do it for them twice, and then they get the adoption. And I'll talk to you guys about those tests, about those processes later in this presentation. Distraction from overwhelming AI options. The rapid emergence of numerous AI solutions creates confusion within teams. So many options, with so many options available, construction companies struggle to, decide which tools are going to benefit us, which tools are, telling, like a wishful thinking that aren't really there yet, and what's going to waste not only our resources as far as cash, but what's going to waste our time and actually put us backwards because we spent all this time trying to figure out this tool. Now, tools are coming at you a million miles an hour. I also have a framework that I'm going to be going into about, how to decide which tools are going to be right for you, how to vet these tools. That's coming up here in the slides as well. Lack of coordination leads to AI tool chaos. So, if there's not executive level buy-in about setting a company direction around a tool and going full force on it, you'll see that deploying AI tools in isolation without a cohesive strategy results in duplicated efforts and wasted subscriptions. This AI tool chaos is going to diminish the overall effectiveness and can lead to mediocre outcomes as teams operate without clear direction. So, this is going to be important for you guys as you kind of lean into these AI tools as well. You don't want, your proposal writer over here using this, or you don't want your PM on the job site buying a $10 a month tool because he thinks it's cheap when, all of his knowledge and all of his project information is now being loaded into that when it should be being loaded into your company knowledge, like we talked about in last week's webinar, to really gain insights on your projects. But that's going to come up in a later slide as well. And then the fear of technology is a barrier. This is kind of the last one here. And fear of new technology among team members is often stems from concerns about its disruptive nature and the perceived risks associated with implementation. This fear can prevent teams from embracing AI solutions that could ultimately improve their workflows. So again, it kind of goes back to this is the way we've always done it. Now, I'm gonna get into these, and I have like 4 different parts here. So part one, building an AI roadmap for the company, for your process, for your department, for your job. This is something that you can plan out, and we're going to have a systemized approach onto which AI tools are going to be meaningful for you rather than this like, ping-ponging of like between this tool and this promise and that new headline and this LinkedIn article I read. So, an AI roadmap is going to serve as a structured guide for an organization, a person, a department looking for implementing artificial intelligence effectively. It aligns with AI initiatives with strategic business it aligns, sorry, AI initiatives with strategic business objectives and ensures that the necessary resources such as data, skills, budget, and timeline are going to be clearly defined and planned for our successful execution. So in terms of our steps here, we're gonna approach this the same way as we would approach, building out a prompt for ChatGPT. So I'm gonna blast through these because some of these might feel obvious, but even though they feel obvious to you now, of course we need to set goals. In the day to day, when these AI tools are, in your face and being loud, we forget this and we're like, yeah, we'll try this. Yeah, we'll try that. Yeah, we'll try that. And before long, we've gone an inch in every direction instead of a mile in one. And that's really what the benefit is of, writing these down, having a meaningful meeting around, hey, I think that our bidding process can be improved. What tools are out there? Let's list them. Let's analyze them. Let's do a goal setting exercise around them, and then we'll move on to these, multiple other steps here. So obviously, you're going to identify the business challenge within your construction firm, such as streamlining workflows, reducing delays, enhancing safety measures, understanding these priorities help direct AI efforts towards solving real issues that impact performance and efficiency. Now, the next one is setting the metrics in which you're going to decide its value. So, setting a measurable goal that clearly outlines what success looks like for each AI initiative. For instance, you want to aim to reduce invoice processing time by 50% within 6 months or achieve a 90% reduction in errors. These metrics provide a benchmark for evaluating the effectiveness of AI implementations. Putting these numbers down, coming back to it after 3 months of paying for that subscription, analyzing it and making your decision, that is going to be important. And that's what we actually do in our onboardings for some of our users at Contracts Connected. We say, look, what's our goal here? Why did you buy this? You want to achieve this? Okay, we're going to write this down. We're going to come back to it in 3 months because we want to make sure that our software is completely changing your life around these back office operations. And then smart framework for objectives. When you're having these, I thought it would be nice to throw this in because this is what my team does. But specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So approach is going to just ensure each goal is clear and obtainable, helping your team stay focused on meaningful outcomes through the AI adoption process. Now, in terms of step two, so we know what we want this to do. We have the timeline, we have the percent and reduction in time, we have the, percent of increase in terms of, how much efficiency we're going to get. Now, let's talk about assessing your data and resources. And this is going to be critical here. Let me just take a sip of water. Cool. All right. So I've talked about this at length. And before I dive into these very specific things, I want to just frame your mind around this. I see companies come to us at Contracts Connected and they want these AI insights around all of their back office documentation. I want to know, I want to be able to look up the terms on this purchase order using an AI chat. I want to be able to, approve certificates of insurance with an AI agent. I want to do this. I want to do that with AI in our back office documents. And I say to them, look, AI, especially AI agents, work the same way that ChatGPT works for you. And ChatGPT has not replaced you. These AI softwares are not going to replace you. What you're looking for is you're looking for efficiency gains. You're looking for this AI tool, whether it's ChatGPT, it's going to enhance you, it's going to enhance your business, right? But if you don't have like that underlying foundation, I'm going to call it, on structure around your data, if you go in and you try to use an AI tool that's promising you the world in terms of efficiency gains, but your back office documents, you have certificates of insurance still in your email, you have an Excel tracker that's supposed to tell you what's up to date and what's not up to date. You have all of this stuff going on and your documents are scattered. This AI tool only enhances what's on that foundation. So if you have chaos everywhere in your back office, your office staff can hardly keep up with the demand. You have a PM that receives a document, he didn't save it in the right place, or he didn't rename the PDF to the right thing. AI is only going to amplify that chaos that lives within your foundation. So look at your data and your resources before you put in your AI tools. And a lot of times I see people that do try to adopt some really good AI tools and they fail. And they fail because the foundation is chaos. The foundation is not there. So, everything starts with a, good business process underneath. And then AI is that layer of productivity increase. So one thing that I want you guys to be able to do when you're evaluating these AI systems is first evaluate your data readiness and accessibility. So AI is going to rely heavily on the data within your guys' company to function effectively. Assess whether your organization has the necessary data to support your AI initiatives. This includes checking if the data is accessible, accurate, and comprehensive. For instance, If the goal is to use AI for predicting project delays, ensure that the historical data like schedules, progress reports, and are readily available and in usable format. And at Contracts Connected, we started with this problem of, hey, we want to, build AI agents that can act like a contract administrator within a construction company. They need to be able to, not only write all these documents, fill in the contract packages and send them and track them and remind about them, but they need to then store them because when they store them correctly, and we solve this problem from the creation in a structured way to the tracking in a structured way, to the storage in a structured way, we now have data readiness across the board that we can layer in this AI to now really do a lot of work for you. And that's one thing when you guys are assessing these AI companies, you know, our company works really hard on the structuring of that data before we even talk about, what the AI features will do for you, because without that structuring of the data, the AI is not going to be able to do much. And you'll be disappointed at the end of the day. So AI, so assess IT infrastructure and the tools, examine your current IT infrastructure to determine if it can support these applications. I talked last week about, company knowledge, for example, company knowledge being stored in, SharePoint, your Google Out or your Outlook, your Google Mail, your Google Drive, whatever it is. A lot of these tools have really easy integrations. If all your documents are kept on a server in a closet in your office, maybe that's time to have a discussion on how do I make this stuff more accessible so we can have this closed environment of, AI being able to work off that. Analyzing team skills and capabilities. So, identify the existing skills and technical capabilities of your team before you try to throw, and try to make them AI coders building their own agents in something like N8N that we've done live on webinars in the past. Determine whether you have personnel who is, experienced in data analysis, AI technologies, and IT support. If, a skill gap exists, consider options for training or hiring new staff to fill those needs, ensuring the project has the right expertise. So, a couple of things here. The first thing is, you probably have a couple of people in your office that are, a little bit more data savvy, tech savvy, AI savvy than the others. They can be used to lead this. If skill gaps exist, there's tons of resources out there. My AI community and for the construction community, the AI Blueprint, which I put the link in the chat for, that is just one easy example. It's $10 for a month, and they can watch every single course video and be a pretty good like AI professional in the back office, or in the field, or as a PM, or as an estimator, whatever you are. Those courses are built for construction and designed to take somebody from like, I don't ever use it, to, oh, I know advanced prompting techniques. I know how to get better results. I know how to update project information in my prompts and give it more context. I've had, companies come in and buy a membership for every single one of their team members, and then they monitor, who's watched what. So some companies take this very seriously, and we're happy to have some members in our community that add value as well from real world stuff. Reviewing the collaboration process. So AI projects often require collaboration across various departments. Review how well your teams currently work together and identify any siloed processes. Establish clear workflows and communication channels to ensure that data and insights can be shared efficiently across departments, which is critical for successful AI implementation. Again, this just goes to a better process, a better foundation, leads to a better result when you layer that AI tool on top of it. All right. So step three, this is going to be all about getting started and pilots. And I have something like a strong opinion about this, I guess. So in construction, it's often this like all or nothing mentality when you're changing a process, you're implementing something, but you guys have so many options to do pilots that I see. And this is obviously someone that I'm involved in a construction company with my co-founder. And it's relatively new, so it's easy for me to say often. But I do see, every time you issue a subcontract, that's an opportunity for a little siloed experiment on that subcontractor within a project. If you want to go a little bit bigger, why don't you try it on, okay, we have this one project. It's a pretty easy project. We could do this in our sleep. We do these types of projects all the time. Maybe it's not too big. Let's do an experiment on a new process with a sub that we're used to, a vendor we're used to, and a project that we could do in our sleep. Let's just test it on this one project and measure and feel that outcome. That is, opportunities for these silos of project pilots. So the first thing that I wanted to just mention on top of that is identifying a high impact, low complexity use case. Uh, and like I just mentioned, selecting a focused use case allows for quicker implementation and easier measurement for success. Choose a specific area where AI can solve a clear pressing problem, such as automating invoice processing or compliance checks to prove the value of AI in a practical context. We do this all the time at contractsconnected.com. We basically say, look, you're a huge company. Maybe you're doing $5 million, or sorry, $500 million a year. Pick a project with a tech forward PM and a tech forward like team in your company, something you know well, something that's easy, something that's not too complex, and watch us change that process and watch us make that easy project become even easier and seamless and streamlined. So we really try to break it down and say, look, what is like a low complexity use case where we can just show a vast black and white difference with this process. Keep the pilot scope small and manageable. By starting with a manageable pilot, you minimize the risks and can easily track outcomes. A small scope also reduces disruption for ongoing operations, allowing your team to focus on the pilot without overwhelming them with change. Engaging a small team of enthusiastic users, this is probably one of the biggest keys of success. A small group of motivated users can drive the success of the pilot by providing valuable feedback and championing the product or project within the organization. Engaging these AI champions will ensure a more enthusiastic adoption when it comes to scaling. So if you're doing this yourself, I think everybody on this webinar today is in the classification of an enthusiastic user. So you guys are like a perfect group or a perfect cohort within your company to lead something. And just because you want to try an AI tool that could possibly be rolled out to the entire organization does not mean the whole company does. If you're enthusiastic about it, measure your process before, try the tool in a pilot, on a project, on a scope, on a commitment, whatever it is, and then measure it after. And if you guys say, look, I work right next to you every single day, you know me, and look what I was able to achieve with this tool, that is the kind of use case that makes a difference in a company to get on board. And I think adoption is one of the biggest like, you know, getting stuck points. And it's that, it's always been this way or we've always done it this way mentality that causes it. All right, and then step four, we're going to provide value with data and communicate the success. So like I just mentioned, the KPIs or key performance indicators, we're going to identify and track specific KPIs relevant to your AI implementation. Examples might be something like processing time per task, error rates, cost saving, staff hours saved. We're going to establish a baseline before implementation to measure improvement accurately over time. Analyze and validate the results. So assess whether the results achieved can be directly attributed to the AI tool. Validate the improvements by comparing pre-implementation metrics with post-implementation data. and identify any external factors that may have influenced the outcomes. And then communicating the success to key stakeholders. So articulating the success of the AI implementation through clear and compelling communication. Use visuals such as charts, graphs, illustrate the data. You're really like kind of pushing for a better way within an organization that, is traditionally possibly really hesitant to change anything. And we have one user that, they used us on multiple projects for pilots and they measured everything. I've never seen this before. Like they measured, down to like the second on how much time that was spending. And then they took it and they analyzed it against the time savings to the cost savings in terms of somebody's salary and how much time was being wasted there and justified, I think it was like a 7 times ROI for our software, and it immediately got approved up the chain. Prior, it was not approved, but they basically asked for an opportunity to pilot it. The communication around this can really change an organization. At the end of the day, construction, especially GCs, everybody's business people at the end of the day. And if you structure this where it's just like a no-brainer, you can get real adoption or you can get real change inside of our organization to be doing things a better way. All right. And then the step five is kind of like, what do you do afterwards? Like, how do you expand this? So planning is critical. The who does what? How does this process change? Uh, who clicks what button? When does it get handed off? All of that stuff should be talked about prior to the onboarding with the company, if you're onboarding with an AI tool. So planning for scaling the AI solution. Based on the pilot results, determine how to expand the AI solution organization wide. Consider which departments or projects will benefit the most from the enhanced capabilities and how to integrate AI tools into their daily workflows effectively. This ensures that the investment made during the pilot phase is leveraged fully across the organization. We're going to strengthen the infrastructure for enterprise use. So as you scale, assess and enhance your IT architecture to support increased data flow and user demands. Really like construction as a whole needs to understand that you guys need to become a data company to really leverage AI. You need to structure your data, you need to have it accessible, you need to have it organized. And that's one of the first pillars that we really talk about when companies come on to Contracts Connected is how do you connect all of your contract documents, all your compliance documents, all of your signatures, all of your trackers, how do you connect all that stuff so it's living within like an environment that data can operate off of. And as you guys grow your companies, as even companies just get older and don't grow, your data should be constantly ever expanding, and AI is going to need that data. Otherwise, doesn't matter what AI tool you buy, doesn't matter how much you pay for it, it's not going to have the effect that you want within your organization. So ensuring that your systems can handle larger data sets, secure cloud storage, the necessary, processing power. If you guys are hosting something in a closet server, you can run AI off your closet server, but it's going to take a couple more servers, most likely, some GPUs. This may involve, upgrading your hardware, software, or adopting new platforms that will help facilitate the integration between AI tools and where you guys are storing this, your documents, your data, all of that stuff. Implement a phased rollout. So this is going to be different for every company. I even see it at contractsconnected.com. When we roll out something into a larger organization, sometimes they start with a phase on one project, and they take that one project and then they, make it one PM's project, and then they integrate another PM, another PM, another PM. Sometimes they're like, okay, well, we have projects. We don't want to like interrupt the flow of our existing projects, but let's roll this out for all the projects that start after today. We have some that we were awarded that, we're going to start issuing contracts and compliance documents for in the coming month. So let's start there. And other companies are like, okay, we need to do our backlog first, and then we need to phase in, our current projects, and then we need to phase in ongoing projects. So it looks different for every company. Every company is going to have different priorities around this, but implementing a gradual rollout strategy to minimize the disruption is critical. So out of all those examples I talked about, they're built out in phases. You should do the same thing here. So this involves introducing the AI solution to one team or department at a time, refining the processes based on initial feedback, and addressing challenges before extending the implementation to other areas. A phased approach helps to manage change effectively and ensures each team is adequately supported. All right, and then step six, we're gonna, talk about a couple of use cases here. So we have AI document processing, which is basically contracts connected. We create the document, we, send the document, we track, we ping them, we try to get it back. If they don't give it back to us, once they do give it back, we're now analyzing and building out different AI agents that can analyze that stuff. Predictive things like bid analysis advantages, schedule risk prediction impact, predictive maintenance insights, all of these things can be used. And I wanted to get into part two now. And part two is really going to be about how to evaluate these tools. And evaluating tools for construction is a little bit tricky. There's a lot of excitement, there's a lot of hype out there right now. And, as construction companies increasingly turn to AI, selecting the right tools becomes essential. Structured evaluation process helps ensure that AI investments deliver real value, align with business goals, and do not fall victim to the allure of the latest technology trends, which can lead to confusion and inefficiency in your organization. So we're gonna just dive into, how do you, when you're seeing all these AI tools, AI this, AI that, you're at a conference and there's like 17 booths that have AI in the name. How do you decide, who's legit and who's, blowing smoke? So the first thing that we want to do is we want to make sure that this isn't just like I don't know, a nice to have, that this was a problem before AI. I think a lot of AI tools out there are looking for problems rather than addressing a problem that already existed. And that was one thing at Contracts Connected that we were like really passionate about in the beginning is, we delayed the implementation of AI features for a full like year and a half, where I was like, no, no, no. Like just because AI is out does not mean that the only way to solve a problem is with AI. We can build software still, automations, workflows, program this. Like every Monday, I need a weekly certified payroll. When a COI expires, just go collect a new one. That stuff is like, don't add complexity where complexity is not needed. And um, after we built that again, that foundation, then we were like, okay, now how do we increase that? Now that we have the data, we have the foundation, how do we increase that with these different AI tools? So basically just understanding that this was a problem before I saw this AI, ad or whatever it is. It must specifically target a critical challenge within the company, ensuring that the solution is not merely a trendy technology, but a functional enhancement that addresses a pressing need, such as improving efficiency or safety. Measuring the impact on outcomes, establishing clear metrics to evaluate how the AI tool affects performance indicators such as productivity, cost savings, or project completion rates. This data-driven approach allows for tangible assessments of the tool's effectiveness. Again, going back to the goal setting, if they're not talking about very specific measurable things for your business, chances are they might not really be like a huge impact to your business overall. Align the tools with benefits, with project timelines, for instance, ensure that the benefits derived from the AI tool fit within the project timelines and the overall business strategy. This alignment prevents disruptions, ensures that the organization can implement and realize the benefits of the tool in a timely manner. So, for instance, like if they're promising something that you guys know, is not possible, call them out on it. Like, there's no reason not to. It's like this is business at the end of the day, and just because there is this lack of knowledge in the marketplace on what AI can actually do these days, what AI is not quite there yet on, what AI can actually like accomplish within a business. I see this like knowledge gap make people really uncertain of what they're seeing on this ad. Does it actually do that? Can it actually do that? Is it really that powerful? And because a lot of the community and construction, is so busy building projects, they don't have time to read all these newsletters on AI and all these update and release notes. And there's no way for them to know until they've bought the subscription. And this timeline's now jacked up because they thought they were going to get this benefit, but they didn't. Now, talking about technical fit, integration, and security here, these are very, very important to not only, get the adoption, but, to get this into your business's, bloodstream, we can call it, to begin with. So check the compatibility with existing systems, evaluate whether the AI tool integrates seamlessly with your current software systems, like project management, accounting, BIM. Compatibility is critical to avoid disruptions and ensure a smooth workflow across departments. So again, your foundation, does it connect with your foundation? Your foundation is everything that you have without the AI. Does it connect properly? Assess the implementation effort required. So, one thing that I think most sales guys are going to, blow smoke about is the time it takes to integrate, especially on things that are data heavy. Oh, just drag and drop all your files. Well, that's great, but like, do we even have all our files to drag and drop? Or like, hey, do I need to train this and write my own prompts in here? Or how plug and play is this? Those are all things that I think get missed in the sales process for AI tools. So those are all questions that you guys can have in the back of your mind. Even if it's a $10 a month subscription and you think it's low risk, think about the time and the effort that's going to be required to not only learn it, but to implement it and then measure your before and your after. How effective is it being for your business? What data am I going to pull from this? So consider the level of configuration, customization, or coding needed to implement the AI tool effectively. A clear understanding of the implementation effort helps in planning resources and timelines effectively here. So the next thing is security and compliance, which I think is at the top of almost every construction company's mind, especially when it comes to AI. This is probably one of the biggest reasons people don't use AI from like an executive standpoint, and they steer away from it. So examine the AI vendor's data security measures and compliance with relevant standards. Ensure that data privacy is maintained, especially if sensitive or regulated data is involved in the AI processes. So, zero data retention policies should be baked into your user agreements with all of these guys. If you're simply checking a box that says agree to the terms and conditions, and you're signing up by yourself, chances are you're not going to have that data, gated around your account. At Contracts Connected, we have to go through a lot of effort to create very, very boxed off accounts so no data ever leaves, that person's structured environment inside of their company account. It's not like an easy process to do. And if you're using something that's, low cost, like $10 a month, $20 a month, unless it's something like ChatGPT, chances are you're not getting the security and the compliance that you need. Check if they have SOC 2 Type 2 security. I know that it's huge right now in the federal space, CMMC security. Those are things that can point you, oh, okay, these guys are take this thing seriously, or these guys don't take this seriously. I need to ask more questions, or I need to make sure a term is baked into my user agreement. Those are all things that you guys should be asking when evaluating these AI tools. All right. And then pillar three is going to be the ROI and cost benefits. So establish baselines for your current performance. We've talked about this in the goals, but I thought it would be important to re-add here. AI should always be assessed for befores and afters, and how effective does it make you after compared to before. So before implementing these AI tools, it is essential to know your starting metrics. This includes performance indicators such as average processing times, error rates, cost related. Establishing these baselines makes for a meaningful comparison of the impact post implementation. Qualify or quantify, sorry, expected benefits from the tool. So once baselines are set, it's crucial to quantify the expected benefits. This involves estimating the time savings, so on, and chances are some sales guy somewhere has told you about some percentage productivity gain that you should expect. Hold them to it, because if you don't, there's either a problem in adoption or a problem in the configuration, or they just, weren't truthful. Calculate the total cost of ownership to make an informed investment decision. Calculate the total costs associated with the AI tool. This includes direct costs, like the license, implementation expenses, and indirect costs like training and potential downtime during the transition period, or, the time that you're going to be waiting on somebody to give you the support to build out your account and better structure your account. A thorough understanding of these costs ensures a realistic evaluation of the return on your investment. And then the hardest part out of all of this really is going to be the adoption. Um, and this is just getting people to be rowing in the same, speed and the same direction. It's the hardest part. So gauge technology comfort level across the team that you're going to try to implement this in. So understanding how comfortable your team is with technology is essential for a successful AI adoption. Gauge their familiarity with existing tools and their openness to try new systems. This assessment will help identify the level of training needed and the types of tools that will be embraced. So one thing, just so you guys get your wheels spinning on this, is I've seen a GC actually send out a little questionnaire, it's like on Google Forms or something free, but a questionnaire about like technology comfort level, AI comfort level. Have you used it? How much have you used it? Those things aren't really being talked about in day-to-day meetings. Everybody's probably using ChatGPT. They're probably using something, right? But nobody really knows how much. And without, a little questionnaire in your company, you don't know. And you don't know, okay, like everybody's using it except for Linda. I'm gonna get Linda help. I'm gonna get her resources. She says she's like too scared to use it. She doesn't know how to use it. That's been another use case where I've seen companies pay for the $10 a month subscription to get them in these courses and learn things on our AI blueprint community. Analyzing the workflow and impact. So evaluate the new AI tool, or how the new AI tool will integrate into existing workflows. Consider whether it will streamline process or create additional steps that employee must take. A tool that complements current practices is more likely to be welcomed. So there's one thing that, when you're talking about tools, listen closely to hear, oh, yeah, do this in conjunction with, or we're going to completely rip apart and rebuild and redo the way that you do something. Those are two very different processes for adoption. Obviously, the less it changes, the easier it is to get adoption. However, the more it changes, the more impact you're probably going to see. So it's kind of like, there's pros and cons to both. Provide adequate training and support. Again, our free courses. If you guys sign up for the AI Blueprint 7-day free trial, you can watch all of our free AI courses on construction, all the previous webinars, the training and support around like comfortability with AI, as well as, the successful adoption of an AI tool is going to be heavily reliant on the training and support that you guys provide within your company. So ensure that your team has access to comprehensive training sessions and resources. This should include hands-on training and ongoing support to address any user concerns that enhance their confidence in using the technology. So one example I'm going to give you guys is at contractsconnected.com. When you sign on, you get a personal booking link that you have unlimited access to book time with a support team member with us because we know we need to be there on call when you guys need it. If there's a contract that needs to get out at the end of the day and you need to use our AI to do it, we need to be there at that time. There's also, we have our live chat and we don't make our live chat go to some AI agent that's going to work you around in circles and never give you to a real person. We really pride ourselves on that, and other AI companies need to do that too. When you're changing a process and you want adoption, you need to be really dialed into giving the resources to make that happen at the company. And that comes from the provider, the software provider, as well as, the leadership at your company. All right. And then the evaluation framework, structuring a proper framework here is critical for assessing AI tools effectively by utilizing four key pillars, the strategic alignment, technical fit, ROI, and user adoption. Companies can ensure that their assessments are thorough and focused on actual building needs, like business needs. Avoiding the pitfalls of impulsive technology adoption is going to be critical for you guys to make sure that you don't waste money, waste time, and so on. So AI is going to offer the transformative benefits for the construction industry, including enhanced efficiency, improving safety, better decision making, and to harness these advantages effectively, it is essential to establish a structured AI roadmap that aligns with the business's goals to undergo through an evaluation of AI tools to ensure that they deliver actual value. By adopting a strategic approach, companies can avoid costly missteps associated with impulsive technology adoption and instead leverage AI to drive meaningful improvements across their operations. So that is, really important to kind of hit home on. I hope, that this is giving you guys a little bit more clarity. I have gone through, this in the past, but if you guys have any ideas for future, webinars, if you guys want me to teach something, just put it in the chat here, put it in the QA here. I build these for you. This, along with this construction community here, this is built for you guys. And I really don't do this for my benefit. I work in a construction company, but I obviously know all of this stuff. Traditionally, I teach on, how-tos, how to do things, how to create a custom GPT, how to use advanced prompting techniques, and all of that kind of stuff is really useful. But today I wanted to take more of like a let's talk about a topic approach. You guys can let me know if this was still just as useful to the, watch me do step one, two, and three and build out a custom GPT kind of talk. But this is something that, I thought, as I see all of these AI products come out more and more and more in the construction community. I thought it would be really important to talk about, what makes a good product and what makes a bad product. And if you guys want, more direct access to me, I also post every single weekday, literally every single weekday in our free community. If you guys use our free 7-day trial here to sign up, I have 56 construction professionals that are really heavily focused on using AI in their construction operations. In our community, we're collaborating. You're going to get all of the access to all of these things here. We have 40 plus lessons. These lessons are taken away from contractors. I train you on these 40 plus hands-on, follow me step by step. This is how to use AI more effectively in your company. We have weekly AI live webinars with the lifetime replays, transcripts. You can interact with AI and ask our weekly webinars like this one that I'm recording right now. Ask you questions. I provide tool breakdowns, every time, like I see here, Every time I see a new AI tool come out in construction, I go vet it. I go do the homework. I analyze it. I see what it does, what it actually doesn't do. If I think AI can actually happen like that, that is one thing that I break down. We have prompt libraries here, so there's different prompts, different libraries where you guys can just come in here and rip them off and say, I'm going to use this in my day to day. This is how you make a professional prompt. Then you have ready to use automations in here. There's a private community, there's GC subs, architects, everybody is, chatting and going back and forth and commenting on these different tools that I'm posting. I have templates in here to, automate, COIs, bid analysis, reports, and so on. So, we have this all for just $10 a month. It is going to go up the more members that we have, because the more members that we have, the more value I think we're going to create in this community, the more construction professionals that are in here. It is completely free to start. You guys can come in, you guys can actually watch our videos, and you can actually come in and see our classroom here. I have our beginner guide. This is a AI course on getting started. I have our advanced prompting course. This is a full course on advanced prompting with any AI. I also have all of our webinars here that are like this. And then I also have all of these resources. So these are all different presentations. These are different PDFs, all of the stuff that you're going to need, to rip out and be really productive with AI. And then I also every Thursday at 9:30 Pacific, I host a 30-minute office hour where anybody in our community can join these and they can just come in and ask me questions one-on-one in a video call. Hey, I've been using this tool. Hey, I saw this. Whatever you guys want to ask, you can completely come in here and ask whatever you want, whenever you want. And we have, community members all over the world already, which is pretty cool to see. So I would love to see you guys in here. You guys are the tech forward thinking people. Go try it for free. Go watch the courses. If you still, feel like you didn't get your value after watching all of our courses, but you learned something, cancel it before the 7 days is up. I don't care. I just want more people in here. I build those videos to, make them make an impact, and they don't make an impact in there with nobody watching them. So that's why I've unlocked that free 7 day trial for the guys and gals that have joined us. So yeah, that's it for today. I think we're right on time. If there's any questions, feel free to post them in the Q&A. Happy to stick around and chat with you guys some more. And if you guys need anything at all, you can find me in that AI Blueprint community. I'm happy to dive into any topics that you guys might want to learn more about in construction. All right, that is it for today. I'm going to hang out for another minute or so, but let me know if I can answer any questions.